Okay, welcome back. You've just made your first button, which was awesome. What we're going to do now is we're going to make a button that's a little fancier, and we're going to actually include some animation in this button, which means we're going to include a movie clip in it. So we're going to have in your flash, you're going to have a button, and in the button, you're going to have a movie clip. Crazy. So, what we need to do first is get our movie clip ready that we're going to use. So, do this with me. What you want to do is, again, let's go down here to our new symbol button. Now, this time I do not want a button. I'm going to make an actual movie clip. We're going to call this fade or symbol fade. How about that? Now we've got this with a nice blank timeline. What I want to do is grab this X-Men symbol, which you've already seen before. We're going to drag him right here in the middle. I like about 15 frames, so let's insert a frame right around frame 15. Once we have that frame inserted, let's right click. Again, pause me if you need to catch up. Right click here. Let's create a motion tween. And it's real simple. We've got this at frame 1, that's cool. By frame 15, we want to go to the properties and make sure you click frame 15, then come back here and click the symbol. And what I want is an alpha, and under color effect we've chosen alpha, and we just want this to fade to about 50%. So it'll just kind of fade down. We can make it even, I don't know, we can make it fade even more if you feel fancy. 39%. So now you got this fade, which is awesome. Now, unfortunately, this fade would keep looping forever unless we put a stop in it. So what we need is a code layer. So make yourself a new layer. Make sure you understand that it's code. And then we actually want to stop here on this last frame, but we can't put anything on this last frame because everything is a copy of frame 1. So right here on frame 15, that needs to be a keyframe. And then on that keyframe, whoops, I already messed up. Make sure you're on frame 15. You want stop, all lowercase, empty parentheses, and the semicolon. And now you have an awesome fading symbol. Now let's go back to scene 1. And we're back to here. Now, I'm feeling kind of lazy, and I don't really want to start from scratch. So what I'm going to do, here's a little trick. We have this amazing home button that we loved. If you go over to your library, right click it, and one option that you have is duplicate. Duplicate. Now, I do not want to call it home button copy. I want to call it Colossus button. If you don't know who Colossus is, he's my favorite X-Man, FYI. Now, what I want to do is, now that you have Colossus button, let's double click it to go into edit mode. Now, what I want, first of all, let's say on my text layer, I don't want it to say home, I want it to say Colossus. Now, to get into edit, you need to be, you'll have to take your select tool, double click the text box, and I want this to say Colossus. Oh, perfect. You can either resize the text field, or you could make the text smaller. And then I'm unfortunately going to have to do this twice because, oh no. Actually, hold on. Consarn it. I'll take this back. Here's what I want to do. Once you've got your Colossus done here, let's right click these and say remove frames. So you've got Colossus here, and then nothing. Then why don't you just click here and say insert frame. So Colossus is just there the whole time. So we got rid of the home and it just says Colossus. Now, we also need a new layer. So down here, let's make yourselves a new layer. Now, let's call it pick, and somewhere in here we have under images, you've got a picture of Colossus's face. So under the images folder, let's grab this and let's go put it, I want it to be hidden underneath the symbol. So if you see this eyeball, this layer, the symbol layer, you can make it invisible, and you can see that you got Colossus's face hiding under the symbol. Now, so we got the text that just says Colossus. Colossus's picture is hiding under there the entire time, and then on this layer we get the symbol, who looks exactly the same. Then he's twisted, and he's twisted. Now what we want to do, and this is really crazy, on the symbol layer, on the over. So you're on the symbol layer, the over frame. Let's convert this to a keyframe. So now all of a sudden, hovering over it allows something different to happen. And what I want to do, once you've clicked over, hit delete to get that off of there. So that symbol went away, and what we really want is symbol fade. Now, kind of positioning is tricky. Now here's what's weird. We're going to play a trick on the user, because it looks like it's the same thing, but it's not, because this is just a plain old symbol. This is a symbol this is a movie clip that's got a fade effect on it. So if you were to run this, well, that was silly. If you run it, you don't ever see it because we never put one on the frame, on the stage. So let's go back to the main stage. Let's say, again, you want to be here on the button menu, frame 21, and let's go grab an instance of Colossus button, drag him out there, then let's run it. Now this is beautiful because, oh, look at that. When you hover over it, it fades. Amazing. Now, so it doesn't do anything, but hover and fade, because it switches, the moment your cursor gets over it, it switches to the fading movie clip that allows you to see Colossus. Now, I don't love the fact that as you hover over it, then when you click, it kind of goes away. We could fix that if we really wanted to. So let's go back and edit the Colossus button again. Again, you can double click here, or you can double click here. I always do that. Double click there. Now, on the down, if I wanted to, I could click this guy. So on the symbol layer, on the down frame, I could click the actual symbol, and I could give this thing an alpha of whatever, what did we have, 39 on the other one. So that way, again, we're still pulling a switcheroo. We're switching away from the fading movie clip, and we're switching to just a plain old symbol, but then we can trick the user into not realizing that. So it's the plain old symbol. When we go over, it's the fading symbol. When we click, it's back to the plain symbol, but with the alpha effect, and it's beautiful. Now again, if you want to mess with the font, the text, you could do like here, you could mess with keyframes and get a bigger font, a different thing, different color font, whatever you want. But that is how to make a custom movie clip with some animation. Now, unfortunately, none of these clips do anything. So let's go back to the main timeline, and what I want is right here on the code layer, let's say on frame 21. I can't put this code in earlier because the buttons don't exist yet, so I'd have to do it here. Now, unfortunately, we haven't given these buttons names. Now, this is where kids always get confused. This button, he is this data type, Colossus button data type, but he does not have a name, and you shouldn't name him Colossus button because that's like having a baby and naming him baby. That would be bad. So let's name it call B. So you've clicked here. In the properties, you gave him a name. He is a Colossus button named call B. And while we're here, let's click on home, and we'll call him home B. Now they both have names. Very important, because in the code layer, we need to talk about them. When you click on the code layer, frame 21, you need to get your actions going on, and that's F9 if you don't have that actions frame down there, or if you do, you can just double click that and get this thing going on. Now what we need Don't forget we named him Call B, or I did, whatever you named him. We need to tell him to add an event listener. I always get that confused because it's action listener in Java. We want to listen for mouse event.click. And when that happens, we need to call a function that doesn't exist yet. The function that we're going to call is going to be called navigate. And again, that function does not exist yet, but it will. So the button adds the event listener. On the click, it calls navigate. And now we need to write navigate. It takes in one parameter. It is a void return type. Pause me and catch up if you need to. Function navigate takes in a mouse event, and it's kind of weird the way parameters are in Flash, but that's all right. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put an if statement here that is not important yet, but it will be later. We will say if the target of the mouse event equals the call button, call B, then we're going to say go to and play. And I have no idea what I'm going to go to and play. We're going to go to and play 41, I think. And 41, let's double check, is after the menu is done, then there is a Colossus area on your timeline, which is on frame 41. That is correct. Okay. Now, hopefully that worked. Let's save it. Let's run it. And boom. Very nice. So now your button works. It has a movie clip in it to simulate some animation. You can click it. It triggers the event that navigates you to this page. This page is really boring, but we are going to fix that in our next movie clip.